Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be reviewing What Once Was Mine, and I have a lot to discuss about this book. This book was for my 2026 to be read book list, and unfortunately I am DNFing this book. This book is a dumpster fire and an excuse of a retelling. So this book is a Rapunzel or Tangled retelling. It talks about Rapunzel and what happened to her, but this is a what if. And this is what if Rapunzel's mother drank a potion from the wrong flower. I will just preface by saying it does have a good premise and a good concept. However, the execution has let me down so hard to the point that the author's writing style is 100% not for me. And let's just say it did not end well for me. So one of the reasons why I DNF'd this book is because the author writes as if it's happening today. Yes, it's a retelling, but it's not a modern retelling. It's fairy tale retelling. This author's writing style is very modern, where Mother Gothel, for example, would describe Rapunzel as a girlfriend, even though she's been looking after her since she was a child. And there is a plethora of problems with this, and there's so many plot holes in the story. And the more you read on, the more you will notice that very quickly. Because in the original story, Mother Gothel keeps Rapunzel because she has very much healing hair. In this book, it's the opposite. She has death hair, it's what I like to call it. She has the hair that can kill. And I thought that was a brilliant concept. She has killing hair. And how that goes about, you have to read that for yourself, just in case you are curious about that. In my Goodreads review, you will see me actually telling you exactly what it is, because it is a spoiled version of it. So if you are interested, check out my Goodreads and you'll find out all that information there. So she used a lot of modern slang and terms and words that doesn't feel like it's part of the narrative, and because of that it pulls me out of it. And there's another one that she wrote in this book and it just irritates me. It comes up 6 times and it's this one here. And because of this chapter, and you may be wondering what on earth that chapter is about, and I'm going to tell you what it is. I call it the skippable chapter. It's that bad, and it's pretty much the author trying to justify why she's created this retelling. Girl, just continue with the book. Like, just keep telling the story and stop trying to justify certain characters, certain things. That's the point of a retelling. A retelling is you're trying to take something from the original Disney movie and make it more darker. Often it's a what-if situation. And I always describe Disney Twisted Tales as what if the Disney and the Grimm brothers story tales come together in the middle, and this is what the books are about. And that is the perfect description of what these books are. I have also reviewed Mirror Mirror. I will put it up there somewhere, you can check it out, that review as well. That one is actually a really good book compared to this one, because Mirror Mirror is a Snow White retelling, and this is what if the Prince, and that one is a really good retelling. And that is a really good example of what I mean by the contextual layer of the story, the words, the style. It suits the theme perfectly well. It feels like a real story in the sense, even though it's a retelling and it's a dark twisted version of it, it feels very continuational and feeling like this is an actual good structured narrative. This book, however, does the opposite of that. It goes into this idea of this is what's happening, and these are like the commentaries, and that's the other thing this author does in this book. The other thing I dislike the most, and this is what part of the biggest reason why I DNF'd it as well, is because throughout the book, she just inserts herself. Like, she just adds commentary to it. There'll be a moment where something happens and she'll be like, oh, we'll come back to that. Yes, we're gonna come back to this. Can you just continue with the bloody story already? Keeps going on and on and on, and it's to the point where I just had enough. And I just thought, what's the point in reading this? This is so irritating. And I've only been to 3 of the skippable chapters, and I'm already done with it. I was like, I'm done. And I don't need these other pieces of commentary. And I will say this, don't be fooled by the first few pages. It looks fine. They're trying to justify and set up the story in a way that pulls you in. But don't be fooled, because the more you get into it, the more it becomes very clear. The best way I can describe it, it's like watching a play and you see a mask fall off the person's face, and you actually see how horrible it is, and you're like, oh, this is actually a terrible play instead of a great play. It's that kind of metaphor going on with this book. It's so useless. Yeah, this book is not worth your time. I would not even spend any money on it. And if you are really interested, I recommend borrowing this book from the library, or if you have a friend that has this book, borrow it from them. It's not worth your money. I rate this book a 6 out of 10 because I do like the premise of if it's a different flower, what it will look like for her, and that kind of concept. However, her execution is what made it so bad to the point where I have no interest in continuing. If I were to write this book, I can actually describe this and retell it better in the sense of execution, but I would make Rapunzel become like a witch apprentice instead of being, you know, secluded, not talking to people. And I would have done so many different choices from this author's point of view. And I understand that she's trying to be different, but that's not the point of a retelling. Yes, it's supposed to be different, but it's a what-if kind of difference. This is more like, what if Rapunzel's mother drank from the wrong flower? What would that look like? And take the most iconic scenes throughout that. The other thing is, there is some iconic scenes, but it feels so forced. For example, the iconic scene of Flynn Rider looking at the poster and being like, oh no, this is wrong, no, my nose doesn't look right. Or they did not do my nose right. This book does it as well, but it's done it in such a forced way, and it just repeats itself as well, and I'm just like, it feels too redundant and very, very forced. It feels like it's not supposed to be there, but it's here. The last thing I wanted to say also is, if you're going to read this book, I definitely will recommend looking up the warnings if there is any, but my warning would be that do not read this if you do not like religious themes, because it does cover it. This book paints Rapunzel as a witch and making her as evil as they can make it. And I will say that if you don't like that kind of themes, do not read this book, because it will be a lot and very distressing for some people who do not want to read stuff like that if they're not ready to read these sort of things. So that being said, that is my review of this book. It is a dumpster fire of an excuse, and let me tell you, I have another review coming about this author's other works, because boy, I have a lot to say about that. That is all for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not done that already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.